What's Tesla's real range at 140 kilometers per hour? How much does it cost to charge and how often do you need to charge it? I'll answer these and many other questions in this video, which is an extra to my Tesla Model Y review. It is worth watching regardless of this video, I promise. Now, make yourself a cup of tea, sit back and let's get on with it. Let me start by saying this video is not sponsored. I rented this car with my own money. I decided to go with the Tesla Model Y because it's a popular segment and I have many of its competitors on the channel, from Skoda to BMW. So I can link to my other reviews. That's how YouTube likes it, right? Also, I saw and drove several Model 3s over the years, while the Model S and Model X are too expensive, and therefore I think reviewing them won't break even when I'm the one picking up the invoice. I started the rental on 31st of March 2023 and drove the car until 25th of April. During this time I covered more than 3,000 kilometers and I used more than 550 kilowatt hours of electric energy, which amounts to some 18.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. According to the online converter, that's like 3.4 kilowatts per mile, or 3.4 miles per kilowatt, whatever, one of those. Now, if it doesn't sound like much, it's because 2,500 kilometers was extra-urban, mainly motorways and dual carriageways, and only 500-600 kilometers around the city. Please bear in mind, all these trips are in Poland, and they present the state of Polish EV charging infrastructure in the spring of 2023. Now, I'll post screenshots of the 3 different trips I took, because I don't expect you to know what it's like on the route from Warsaw to Gola Dzierżoniowska. Pause for a second, swallow everything you have in your mouth and try to pronounce Gola Dzierżoniowska. Resume at your leisure. So, the trip to Gola Dzierżoniowska is 410 kilometers one way. A fully charged Tesla Model Y long range with 75 kilowatt-hour batteries could just about make it, driving on dual carriageway at 110 kilometers per hour and using 18 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers in optimal conditions. However, the last half-decent charger is 50 kilometers away from the destination, going from Warsaw, and about 90 kilometers away from destination, going back to Warsaw. And both require going off the main route, more about taking detours to charge in a moment. Since the first leg of the journey is on the A2 motorway, I tested the energy consumption at 120 and 140 kilometers per hour, the latter being the legal speed limit on Polish motorways. At 120 kilometers per hour, Tesla Model Y long range used about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, that's 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour, which means around 375 kilometers range on a good day. At 140, it's 27 kilowatt hours, which is 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which cuts the range to some 270 kilometers. The temperature was above 10 degrees Celsius. It was sunny, no strong winds. Now, Tesla SatNav suggested a supercharger along the way. In case you don't know, superchargers are Tesla-only rapid charger hubs. As of recent, some are starting to open to other brands of cars, of course, but not here in Poland. Charging a Tesla at a supercharger is absolutely seamless. You just drive up to a charger, plug the car in, and that's it. No need to authorize the payment because Tesla already has your card on file. The charger knows your car and job done. Now, the hubs are usually made up of dozens or several dozens of stations, so there is a good chance you will find a charging spot available. Also, Tesla makes sure you don't bogart that plug, my friend. As soon as you reach the planned state of charge, you are notified in the app it's time to vacate, and if you don't, Tesla will slap you with some idle fees. Other networks have similar ways of kicking you out as soon as possible, for example by charging you extra when you charge longer than some set amount of time. It all depends on the network and possibly also a subscription fee. Now, I know it's like mobile phone plans back in the day. It will get easier. The EU requires that car payment terminals be installed at charging stations, so it's going to be more like petrol station soon enough, only it'll just take a bit long time. It will probably come as no surprise that some charging locations are more convenient than others. For example, this particular supercharger cost me more than an hour to get to and then back en route, and that's on top of the normal charging, and it was on Easter Monday when the traffic was minimal, so I could have used another charger somewhere along the route right off the motorway. It would cost me more money but less time. At my destination, which was a hotel, there was a Type 2 connector which I used for 7 hours to recharge to 100%. On the way back I used a charger some 5 minutes off the motorway, 90 kilometers away from home. So how much did this particular journey cost? Now, I'm quoting energy prices in Poland in the spring of 2023. You'll have to check your local electricity providers and local charging networks. My energy provider at home charges 18 euro cents per kilowatt hour. I didn't charge full before the trip, so let's say I would pay 8.70 euro, half an hour and 46 kilowatt hours at the supercharger at 45 cents per kilowatt hour cost me 20.67 euro. 7 hours at the hotel, 67 kilowatt hours for 28.71 euro, and 25 kilowatt hours in 10 minutes on the way back for 17.40 euro. Here I lost another 10 minutes trying to connect to the charger because there was an authentication problem with the RFID token and with the app, but finally I connected without having to call support, which is good. So the entire trip cost me 75.50 euro for 820 kilometers, which gives us about 9.20 euro per 100 kilometers. At the time of recording this, regular petrol in Poland costs 1.50 euro per liter. So an IC crossover using 8 liters per 100 kilometers, that would cost about 12 euro per 100 kilometers. I could drive faster and skip all the stops if bladders permit. Of course, I could say that the EV trip was even cheaper because I have solar panels at home, so the initial charge cost me nothing. I could literally drive for free around town, but then I wouldn't need a 2-ton SUV. Now, I've driven similar route with many EVs, and I have to say charging infrastructure along the way is improving. However, Tesla plans the routes only or mainly via superchargers, and it doesn't seem to recognize many other chargers, so PlugShare or a similar app is a must, unfortunately. My next trip was to Poznań. That's about 700 kilometers both ways because I had some errands in different parts of town. 3 charging stops. One was on the way to Poznań, and that was mainly a toilet break because the passengers needed it. But I took the opportunity to put some juice back in the batteries because why not? Then there was a supercharger located in the city center, which is not very convenient if you're on the way to or from Berlin, for example, and a non-Tesla charger on the way back, which happened to be between a dumpster and an impromptu truck stop. So, generally speaking, it's better to have your charging stops planned ahead of the trip. Theoretically, I could have charged from a Type 2 socket during a lunch break, and maybe then I would get home without having to pee behind a truck. And a last trip from Warsaw to a seaside village of Jastarnia, that's 850 kilometers both ways. Tesla would have me drive 100 kilometers longer because it wanted to use a supercharger, but I decided on a shorter route with several single or 2 plug 100 kilowatt chargers along the way. Now, one stop about halfway for a toilet break and another 15 minutes to get enough juice because unfortunately there was no Type 2 socket at the hotel where we would be staying, and using the regular socket for the night would cost me more than using a public slow charger. The public charger wasn't very conveniently located, so I had to skip that one, and we had to charge more before getting to Jastarnia so that we could drive further on the way back. Now, the weather was nice, it was middle of the week, all the chargers were therefore vacant and all were working, which is very nice for a change, but we lost 1.5 hours at 3 chargers, and if one of them was broken or something or taken, a relatively pleasant trip would soon turn into a game of will we make it to the next charger. And Tesla is really efficient compared to other EVs, which I reviewed in the past. I would get 14 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers around the city without even trying. That's at least 25% better than some of the competitors, and same story on longer journeys. So, if I traveled around Poland in a different EV in the spring of 2023, I'd have to add at least one more charging stop per trip, or the charging stops which we took would have to be longer, so I would lose more time and money. Speaking of money, how much did it all cost? Now, if I charged only at home, I would pay €99 for all the energy needed to drive over 3,000 kilometers, which translates into €3.26 per 100 kilometers. And if I use the currently most expensive charging network in Poland, which is Ionity, which charges 76 cents per kilowatt hours, I would pay €418. That's €13.93 per 100 kilometers. An ICE SUV using 8 liters per 100 kilometers would cost me €360 or €12 per 100 kilometers. So, the big question, how much does it cost at 140 kilometers? Well, on a relatively warm spring day, that would cost me between €4.85 and €20.52 per 100 kilometers, depending on where I would get my charge from. Would I switch to an electric car in Poland in the spring of 2023? Now, if I needed a car just for the city where it wouldn't be convenient to take public transport for my daily commute, I'd consider a second-hand compact EV. However, an EV would not work as my main car, which I'd have to drive to other cities in different weather conditions. Not yet anyway. And here I think I should end. If you have some questions about EVs, drop me a comment below. Also watch my Tesla Model Y review, as well as my EV trip from Poland to the Alps and back. That was in the winter. Different car. You'll see in certain areas of Europe it's much easier to travel in an EV. So, are you ready to transition to an EV? Do you think that's the right way forward? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, thanks for sticking around because this was really long and lots of numbers. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.